Like I know I saw that video of Kim Kardashian talking about, she wanted a break or something, so she put the elves in a quarantine section. Why they quarantine for? I was so confused by that. I was like, child, that's exactly what I would do because look, first of all, what? That's just an extra thing that you have to do.
So even though it seems like it's about an innocent topic, an elf, it's really not. What types of problems would an elf get into trouble for at the North Pole? I would imagine substance use would be a real problem. They are isolated, it's cold, it's probably quite depressing. So maybe certain elves start consuming alcohol and using other drugs.
I'm done.
Fill the room with the juice. That's a lot of loot. That big fire. Yeah, she kinda cute.
Don't need any more big shots.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Welcome back to the channel. So, in today's reaction, I wanted to react to this because I don't have no kids, okay? Let me just let you guys know real quick immediately. I don't have any children. So, the whole elf on the shelf thing, I never understood. I was like, are they battery operated? How do they move from one section to another? And I come to find out this year, which is sad, that the parents are moving the elves for the kids in the house. I don't know how this came about. I don't know when this started, but I am curious to know why it matters. Is it real? Like, is it something that people really want? Like the kids, do the kids like want that? Is that like a status symbol? I really just don't know. I really don't. I'm looking out this window because I'm shook that people are working on Christmas right now. I'm like, this man is actually working on this house. And he's not like a neighbor. It's like the construction people, and they are working right now. And I'm like, dang, working on Christmas during COVID, child, man, can't even imagine it. Can't even imagine it. I'm telling you, this has been a rough year. I feel like Christmas should have been canceled. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like Christmas should have definitely been canceled this year. But we keep on pushing and we are blessed and lucky to really even get to this milestone. Isn't that crazy that we made it to December? We made it to December, you guys. Let's see how next year goes. I will be right here frolicking about, ready to see how the heck this goes because, child, now, this elf in the shelf business, is using an elf a good idea? Absolutely. Dr. Todd, let us know. Let us know, Todd. Let us know.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande.
Hi.
Today's question is, can I analyze the elf on the shelf activity? Is this a good idea? It's important to note here that there is some dark humor in this video. So even though it seems like it's about an innocent topic, an elf, it's really not that innocent. I want to note here before I go on that I am wearing an ugly Christmas shirt. I had a number of requests for an ugly Christmas shirt or sweater, and I found this one, and it kind of combines the best of both of those worlds, right? It's like a picture printed on a shirt of a very ugly Christmas sweater. So I hope I covered all the requests with this one item. In addition to being extremely ugly, this also is fairly uncomfortable to wear. It's like wearing a garbage bag, except less fashionable. So now moving to today's topic. Man. I'll start with the background, and then I'll move to my analysis of the elf on the shelf. So the whole idea of an elf on a shelf came from a book that was published in 2005. It's essentially a forgettable story that through a series of marketing events became quite popular. Now it would appear that a portion of society is stuck with what has become some type of tradition. Parents handle and position the stuffed elf in a way that fulfills the story in the book. The basic story goes like this.
I didn't even know that.
Santa Claus has these scout elves. They are sent to spy on children. They position themselves in various places in a residence. When everybody in the household goes to sleep, they use their magic to fly back to the North Pole and give Santa a briefing on both the good and bad behaviors that were witnessed. Prior to the family members waking up, the elf makes its way back to the residence and positions itself in a different location.
My mom would
never. It becomes a little game to see where the elf has popped up. Now, the magic that the elf has comes when the child names it, and that magic goes away if the child ever touches the elf.
You can name it?
Here are my thoughts on this.
You can't touch it if you're a kid?
Activity. I will look at this from the point of view of the children and then the parents. So from the perspective of a child, this creepy-looking spy elf has been employed by Santa Claus to extend his mission of domination and control. The child has to take part in giving the elf the magic so that the elf can then use the magic against the child. This reminds me of the original Ghostbusters movie, when the Ghostbusters were trying to keep their minds blank and not think of the instrument of their destruction. Of course, one did think of something, and that's where they got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. The elf infiltrates the home and can pop up anywhere. Furthermore, it has immunity. The child can't even dare touch the elf, or the magic is dead. The child must live in fear because the elf is always watching. One screw up, and the elf is on the next flight to the North Pole, ready to snitch. From the parent's perspective, certain problems can arise here as well. The parents can forget to move the elf may get lost, a family pet could eat the elf may accidentally fall into a blender, get run over by a car, set on fire by an oven burner, or be divided in two by a circular saw. For some reason, I imagine a very dangerous environment for these elves, like they need hazardous duty pay or something. Being a spy isn't always a safe job. In addition to all the things parents have to do around Christmas time,
That's crazy.
this is just one extra thing
That's a lot
to worry about.
Right.
If the parents refuse to have a scout elf in the house, the child may lay on a guilt trip, right? Their friends have these elves in their houses. Why don't they have an elf? On the upside, the elf is a behavioral reinforcement, an affordable surveillance system to make sure the child doesn't break the rules.
System.
Kind of like a little Terminator. As a matter of fact, the elf does have a message every time it leaves. In essence, it says, "I'll be back." One of the Terminator's lines.
That's
so with
scary.
all that in mind, is this a good
And
idea,
weird.
this whole elf on the shelf? Well, essentially, this elf is a little terrorist from the perspective of the child and the parents, but of course for different reasons. I understand that this is a valued tradition and is probably adhered to by millions of people. Therefore, I want to try to find a way for the elf to be educational, to make this a positive experience. Here's what I came up with. I was trying to think about this from the perspective of the elf. Nobody ever worries about the life of a scout elf. How did this elf get in this position in the first place? Most elves build toys. Maybe this elf did too. But from Thanksgiving to Christmas, the scout elf has a very specific job. They are field operatives, sent to the corners of the globe to sit in the same place for 16 hours a day and stare. I was thinking that maybe these elves have some type of problem, like they got into trouble. Perhaps they were not employed by Santa Claus as much as sentenced by Santa Claus. This is their community service, the equivalent of wearing an orange jumpsuit and picking up trash on the side of the highway. Come to think of it, the elves are often wearing red clothes. Maybe this is their prison uniform. Then I was thinking, what types of problems would an elf get into trouble for at the North Pole? I would imagine substance use would be a real problem. They are isolated, it's cold, it's probably quite depressing. So maybe certain elves start consuming alcohol and using other drugs.
I'm done.
I imagine there's also a lot of elf on elf violence as well. If the elves are criminals, and some have difficulties with violence and addiction, this could lead to a valuable learning opportunity and take care of some of the positioning concerns that parents might have with the elf. These factors could explain the behavior of the elf. A few examples.
How do you come up with
Did
this
the elf
stuff?
fall over? No worries. It had too much vodka. Instead of an elf on a shelf, you have a scout with a blackout. Is the elf in the same position from one day to the next, like the parents forgot to move it? Not a problem. The elf could be depressed from contemplating its life of crime. Are the kids being too loud? Hey kids, it's time to quiet down. The elf has a hangover. Maybe the elf is moving a little bit too much, like one parent moved it and then the other one did too, because they didn't know if it had been moved from the prior day. Well, the elf could be snorting lines of cocaine. What happens if the elf gets lost temporarily? Maybe it needed to attend an AA meeting. Or if the parent cannot find the elf at all, it was violated by his probation officer. So this would be scout who needs a bailout. So as we can see, the elf on the shelf can be used to teach children to have empathy for an elf suffering from a life of crime and related factors.
I guess that's true.
But
I guess
outside
that's
of that,
valid.
it really doesn't seem to have any value. This is a limited behavioral reinforcement technique that the child will soon learn to defeat. Lasting moral behavior comes from the inside, not from external threats. Is there a way to use the elf without any downside? I would say just give the elf to the kids to play with. It's like a brief assessment. If they rip off the arms and legs, then maybe they have an anger problem, or they're delivering payback for not getting the gifts that they wanted last year. So what lessons can be learned here? Santa needs to provide funding for an elf prison at the North Pole.
Boy.
He needs to stop sending his problems all across the world.
Boy.
And an elf left in a box at a store has more value than an elf at home.
You are silly.
So those are my thoughts on Elf on a Shelf. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.
Happy holidays, happy holidays. I'm so dead. First of all, let me tell you something. If I had kids, I don't know if I would be anywhere close to aware of the fact that I didn't move it the prior day. Like, I know I saw that video of Kim Kardashian talking about, you know, she wanted a break or something, so she put the elves in a quarantine section. Why they quarantine for? I was so confused by that. I was like, child, that's exactly what I would do, because look, first of all, what? That's just an extra thing that you have to do that you shouldn't even really feel the need to do. But I guess if you have the time, and the energy to be moving toys, to make sure, even in maybe in the playroom, I feel like I would only want it in a designated area, like in the playroom. And then let's say we're gonna have dinner, then I would put one over there or something. But like, you see how it's already becoming like a to-do list of what I need to do. Like, why do I need to? I just don't think that. I think it's weird. I think it's pressure. That's what I think it is, because I don't see that as something like. I mean, I just don't see myself personally as a child being like, I want to elf on the shelf. Only if other kids were talking about it or telling me about it. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the only thing, which again is pressure. Like, this whole thing would be pressure to me. Like, what? No, it would suck for the parent. It would suck for the child. I don't know. I just feel like that would not be cool at all whatsoever. I don't know though, child. Y'all let me know if y'all have an elf on the shelf. And if you do, tell me if it was like a parent and you were the kid, or if you're the parent and you do it for the kid. And tell me your experience down below, because I really am curious to know how you are frolicking within the week, let alone the month. Like, when do the elves come? Do they come on Christmas Eve? Are they coming on December 1st? Like, child, what is? And then I see parents that take pictures of the elf stuff too. Like, I can't. I can't. You know, kudos to y'all if y'all are doing it. Let me know your experiences. I'm absolutely curious, because cocaine. Why you gotta say that they're doing cocaine? I don't understand. Oh, anyways, I love you guys so much. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you're amazing. You made it. Congratulations. Yay, yay, yay. And I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, let me know what y'all think about my sweater if you haven't seen it already. Because we posted Home Alone.
Pulling out the coupe in the lot, 12 for a SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick.